As is often the case in our church, I was distracted, I think, by the fourth station or the fifth, with the sirens going up and down on the street. We hear them often. And I just start thinking someone is suffering somewhere. Even someone was in that ambulance, or they're on their way to get somebody who's suffering, or they're rushing someone to the hospital. And it just made me continue to think as I prayed the rest of the stations how Jesus came to redeem the world. He saw the world in such distress from falling away from doing God's will and wanted just simply to love us and bring us back to it. And when we look around the world today, isn't it true that we all look with some fear? Because it just seems that all over the place, and most especially in the Holy Land, where Jesus and the apostles first spread the gospel, there's war and death and killing every single day. And we wonder sometimes, when is it all going to get better? I'm sure you feel like I do too. Lord, when will this change? When will there be peace? And I'm reminded that it always starts with us. It starts with me, we can all say. And each time we say, I love you, Jesus, with my whole heart, never let me offend you. It's always saying, never let me offend you. And that needs to be our prayer during Lent, that we strive to, grow in holiness by eradicating sins from our lives, even the smallest sin, and so become more like Jesus. And that way the world is better in our little corner of the world. And if millions of people will celebrate Easter this year, all over the whole world, even in the Holy Land. And that gives me courage to know that the Lord's grace is working among people everywhere. And we have to just join with them in prayer and in our own lives to fulfill Jesus' will, that we all be one with him. That's what his prayer was. The whole world looked at him hanging dead on the cross, and his enemies were happy. We finally got rid of him. He was a threat to their comfort. He was a threat to their power. He was a threat to them in so many ways because he saw deep within their hearts what was wrong, and he called them on it. And that yet when Jesus died, we know that it was victory. It was victory because he offered out of love for his heavenly Father and for you and me. He offered up his life out of love for us. And Jesus, 3 days later, gloriously rose from the dead and joined his Father in the eternal happiness of his kingdom. And we know that as followers of Christ, we have the same destiny, that we will one day join Jesus in the kingdom of heaven in glorious destiny for all of us. And so that gives us hope. And I think for myself, and I hope for you, we never must lose hope, but always trust in the Lord, be it in terms of our own personal sufferings, or if it be in terms of the suffering of the world. We need to continue to trust that Jesus Christ is leading us. He was so simple and so humble and so absolutely committed to peace and to love of others. And if the whole world would imitate that, what a great world we would have. And it's possible. Someday Jesus is going to bring it all together. And so for you and me, we have to be grateful at this moment that we're in this church with Jesus himself, present in our tabernacle under the Holy Eucharist. And he's present within and among us. And so we're not alone on this journey, and we need not fear, as Jesus said so often, but simply to trust in his love. He traveled this whole journey of Calvary to his death so that he could rise from the dead 3 days later and give us all hope for our own eternal futures.